and welcome back to the channel. Now I've been sent the iScooter U2 e-bike to have a play with and to see what I think. Now it's a really traditional style kind of bike and it has a lovely upright seating position that it's not something I'm used to, and I wasn't sure that I even like it. Anyway, there is quite a bit of assembly to do with this bike, so let's get it unboxed, put it together and see what we think.
So the first job as usual is to cut the straps, and then I'll remove them ready to get the box open. And then you'll need to remove all of the staples, and there are quite a few of them. And then what I like to do is to cut right up the front left hand side and the right hand side of the box, and then the front falls down just like that. Now these bikes do travel quite a long distance, so the next job is to cut all the cable ties and remove all of the packaging, and there will be quite a bit of it. Now there is always a small box inside the big box, so let's get that open and take a look inside. And inside there is the swan neck handlebar stem. There's the instruction manual, and that has a few tools in it. In fact, all the tools you'll need to assemble the bike. And then we've got the kickstand. That has to be put onto the bike as well. Probably do that first as it happens. And then we've got the pedals. Now these are just standard plastic pedals. They're not folding, they don't need to be. And then we've got this little package. Now this little package is the throttle. Now it's illegal to fit a throttle in the UK. That is entirely up to you, but it is there if you wanted to. And then we also have a UK plug with its cable fitted to it. And then of course we'll also have the charging unit, and we obviously need that to charge the batteries. And then one last thing I believe, and that will be the spindle for the front wheel. So as I said, the first thing we're going to fit is the kickstand, and we'll need that to help keep the bike upright, particularly if you're doing it all on your own. You get a couple of bolts already there in place, and what you need to do with those is just sort of do them, locate it first and then do them up finger tight. And then what you do then is using one of the Allen keys that were provided with all the tools that came with the bike, and get that nice and tight. Now you do want this tight because obviously you don't want that moving, because it's going to take the whole weight of the bike. And the next thing I'm going to do is to fit the front wheel. So I'm going to remove this temporary spindle from the fork, and they put those in place on all of the bikes that I've seen so far, just to protect the forks while the bike's in transit. And then we're going to fit the spindle that I found in the small box. Now I've put the bike upright to do this, and it was quite easy to slide the wheel into place, and then you just push that new spindle through there. It has a hand clamp on one side. I always put that on the side opposite the disc brake. And then all you've got to do is make sure you get that washery type thing with the lug in place, the spring, and then also the nut, and tighten it up hand tight. And then from the other side of the bike you can see that we have that hand clamp. Put that down into place like that. You want it fairly tight, but the good thing is that if you do need to remove the wheel, it is really simple. Then it's the handlebar stem with that swan neck on it. Now what you must be sure to do here is to put it down inside the frame like that, and have the stem pointing away from you, so the handlebars are further away. And then it's a little bit out of shot, but at the top of it there's another Allen key to be used. It's also in the tools that came with the bike, and you want to get that really tight. Line it up and tighten it up as best you can. And then you've got this bracket on the top, another two Allen bolts that you need to remove. But once you've done that, make sure that you hang on to those bolts and the bracket. Of course you don't want to lose that, because you're going to put it back on in a moment when you're fitting the handlebars. Now the handlebars are attached to the bike on cables and things, so you just kind of lift it up into place like that, and then put the bolts back in the top with the bracket. And as you can see I'm doing here, just do them up kind of hand tight, and then with the correct Allen key just tighten them up. Now you want to get these as tight as you can, because you don't want that to come loose while you're riding the bike. So there you go, you see me fiddle. You can adjust the handlebars later if you need to, so get them more or less right, and that'll do for a start. Now the next job is the seat post, and that's always the easiest job, and that has a little hand clamp on it, so nothing's easier than that. Just get it to more or less the right place, and there you are. Now you can do these jobs in more or less any order you want to, but this is the order I'm doing it in. What I'm doing next are the braces for the rear mudguard. Now the nuts are already in place, so you just remove them and then put them back into place like this, obviously hand tight, and then use the Allen key. Now I did have to remove these a little bit later on to install the luggage rack on the back of the bike. And then we're nearly there, and this is the front mudguard and this is the top mudguard bracket, and this also connects the front light to the frame on the bike. Now this is a bit of a fiddly job, but I did manage to get it in, done in the end, and if you stick with it, I'm sure you will do too. And then, as with the back mudguard, there are braces that fit down on the frame. All you need to do there is to remove the bolts that are already in place, and then, secure these braces so that the mudguard's not wobbling around while it's trying to keep your clothes dry. And then again, using one of the Allen keys provided, you just make sure these are done up nice and tight. And then last but not least, it's the pedals. Now this is the left hand side of the bike, so it's a left hand thread, that's anti-clockwise. The one on the other side, the right hand one, is a right hand thread as normal, and that's clockwise. So do them up hand tight, and then again, using the spanner, the correct spanner that's provided, just tighten them up so these are not going to come loose while you're out riding the bike. And you also get a user manual with this bike, and I have to say it is one of the best I've seen with any of the bikes that I've done. It has real good quality pictures inside and all the information you'll need to help you build and use the bike. Oh wow, well the sun might be shining today, but it is bitter cold. Anyway, let's get a couple of miles on this bike and see what we really think. Right, so I'm just going to press plus, and that'll put that into pedal assist 1, and I'll just show you now, falling off with pedal assist 1. I wouldn't say it helps a great deal, and certainly when you're pedaling, well, I consider really it's just, let's bring that camera up slightly, I consider really it's just to take up the weight of the bike. As I said, that's fairly common. Anyway, it is a really pleasant bike to ride. There's no two ways about that. It is really a pleasant bike to ride. Now hopefully you can see from the shot here, yeah, sort of retro old style handlebars, but they are so comfortable like this. When I first saw this bike, I wasn't too sure. I've mentioned about the seating position, but it is really comfortable. You're sitting kind of upright, and the steering, everything is absolutely fine. Now there is one slight flaw on this that I've seen other reviews mention, and I'll try to point that out a little bit later, but it's the front mudguard is pretty close to the front pedals, so when you turn left or right, particularly a sharp turn, then you catch the toe of your shoe or your trainer in my case on that mudguard. Now I haven't found that to be too much of a problem personally, I must admit. Now if you ride with your toes, the front end of your feet on the pedal, your toe part of your feet, then it's not a problem at all. Now I'm not used to pedaling like that. I pedal with the centre of my foot, most like most other people. Now what I'll do is I'll just pull over here and see if I can point this out. But I haven't found it to be too much of a problem. So what I'm going to do is just point this camera, it's gone over my mouth. I'm just going to point this camera down here, just a little bit more maybe. Bring the pedal round. Now you can see my foot on that pedal, and as I turn, do you see that hitting my foot there? Now, I have to be honest and say it really hasn't caused me too much of a problem, but it is an issue. I just thought I'd mention that. I'm just trying to set this camera back up. There we go. So it is a little bit of an issue, but
in most cases the turn we do with these bikes is not that sharp, so in most cases, you know, it doesn't cause a problem. I'll just go back to the actual riding of the bike again. It is just so nice. You feel, I've said this before on other bikes, but on this one you really do feel that you could just sit on this bike and just go forever. It's just a joyful little ride. There's nothing sporty about it. You're not going to be lycra wearing on this bike. You're just going to be going for a nice little ride, as I'm doing now. Now, it has 5 levels of pedal assist, as I've probably already mentioned. In the manual, or certainly the instructions that I got with the bike, it says 7. Now, it definitely isn't 7. It's 5 levels of pedal assist. But I'm going to go straight up to 5 from where I am now, and it comes in. That level 5 is incredible. Right, so I'm just going to slow it down a bit now. Back down to pedal assist 2. We've got some humps in the road here. And I'll just bring it back up slightly there, just to help me out. Now, I've stayed in 4th gear. I haven't changed gear at all. I'm still in 4th gear, and as I said in the past, I quite often find myself just using that pedal assist unless I really need to change gear. Now, of course, the other thing you can do to control the pedal assist is just to use the brake, as I've just done there. There you go, and that cuts out the pedal assist. And that's when you notice it does take a little bit of time. Not too long, actually, not as long as I thought it might from what I'd seen. That's not too bad at all. Now, of course, this is a cadence sensor. If you know anything about the sensors that picks up what you're doing with your pedaling, they tend to be a bit laggy compared to the torque sensors. Now, torque sensors will come in more or less immediately, and you give and they'll really give back. I can't make up my mind at the moment which I prefer. But anyway, as I said, this is a cadence sensor, and when you're in pedal assist, like I said, if you squeeze a brake, it cuts out that pedal assist. Then you just wait a bit, and there it is back in again. So it's not as bad as I've heard some people say, to be quite honest. Now, I'm still in pedal assist 5. I'm going to drop it down to pedal assist 3. Slight little incline here, and that's not too bad at all. Now, one thing I have done with this bike, I've been riding it without any assistance at all, and to be honest with you, it feels just like any other bike. It's only when you get a little bit of an incline, because it's, you know, obviously a little bit heavier. But yeah, I'm actually going to knock it off now altogether. Pedal assist, there we go. And because it's slightly uphill, I have to work a little bit, I have to be honest. I'll bring in pedal assist 1, and as I said before, that really doesn't do a lot. That's just compensating for the weight of the bike. Right, so I've now put it into pedal assist 2, and again, you can feel that, but not a lot. It's just, let's see, this is a level sort of road here. I'm in pedal assist 2, I'm in 4th gear, and I'm having to work a bit. I am pedaling just like that was a normal bike. So it's a level road, 4th gear, pedal assist 2, and I can feel my legs having to work there. Pop it up to 3, and yes, that's just slowly come in, but not a great deal of difference. On this bike, you tend to get that help once you go, you feel that there, into 4th. The first 3 don't seem to do an awful lot. They just help you a little bit. But into 4, you can feel that I'm not having to work too hard, hardly at all really, just turning the pedals. And then into 5, and there you go. 5 on this is fantastic. It really is. Now I'm having to ghost pedal here, which is quite common, particularly with a cadence sensor. So I'll just pop that back down to 4, and that's not needed on this level road, so back down to 3. Right, so 3. We're in pedal assist 3, we're in 4th gear, I'm on the level, as I mentioned a while ago. I've now gone back to pedal assist 3, and I am having to pedal this like a normal bike, even with pedal assist 3. So, in summary, with the pedal assist, like I said, the first 3, well, the first one really doesn't do much at all. That just takes up the weight of the bike, but hardly. The second and the third, they give a little bit of pedal assist. I am having to work quite a bit now with pedal assist 3 on, but it's still a nice comfortable ride, and if you want to get some good exercise, then you know it's perfect. Back up to level 4 like it did, and then you feel it, you see. I'm not sure if you heard that as well, but that's where you get your help. Now I've probably repeated myself there. I just wanted to get it across how the pedal assist on this bike works. Now maybe in different gears that might be different again, but I may well give that a try in a minute. So I'm going to go up to 5, and there you go. Now 5 is just too much. I mean, there's a slight incline here, but not too much. But this pedal assist 5 is just too much. My legs are going like the clappers here, or I'm going to have to ghost pedal like that, and that's not necessary. So what we'll do, back down to pedal assist 3. Oh goodness me, back to pedal assist 3, and what I'm going to do now, right, I'll put it into 5th gear, 6th gear. Now that is fairly hard work. That's in pedal assist 3 in 6th gear. That is quite heavy work. Let's see what, there we go, that pedal assist comes in again. Now I'm in level 5. What that does do in level 5, it helps with the pedaling. I'm not having to ghost pedal here. I'm just going to drop that back down to 3 again, and now I'm going to go into 3rd gear here, and then 2nd gear. Right, okay, so in 2nd gear in pedal assist 3, that is obviously less work. Now if you know about gears, that's the idea of gears. So if you were struggling on a normal bike, you would go through those gears. So it all works extremely well. So I'm in now gear number 2, pedal assist 3, and that's a lot more comfortable than when I was in 4th gear in pedal assist 3. So everything, the levers on this, I'm not sure if you can see them, really good, and it all works. And you know, if you do get one of these bikes, I'm pretty sure you'll work it out yourself. But anyone that gets this bike, and I mean just anyone, not if you want to go racing around, you know, or a lot of 4x4 work, but don't get me wrong, I took this through mud yesterday and it worked absolutely fine. But this is a cruiser, really. It's got a nice rack on the back, so you can put some panniers on there. And as I said, you know, it's just so comfortable and such an upright position. You can see everything around you. Yeah, I'm really liking it. Now, it's not a folding bike, so, you know, it's not something you're going to put into your vehicle and take somewhere with you. This is the kind of bike you're going to get on, and if it was 5 or 6 miles to the town centre, it's not a problem on this bike at all. If you just wanted to go for a nice sunny afternoon cruise somewhere, this bike is perfect for that. Anyway, that sun is lovely, but it is bitter cold. I have been quite delayed on trying to get this review done because, as most of you know, in the UK we have had some absolute rubbish weather. If everywhere's not so flooded that you just can't, particularly an e-bike, and it's pouring with rain, you can't really take it anywhere. If it's not that, it's been the wind. And I like to use a little drone I've got in autonomous mode that films, you know, while I'm doing a review. Well, I haven't been able to use that for so long because of the wind. All right, I'm just going to turn around here. Just drop that pedal assist down a bit. Yeah, and there we are. Right, now I'm going to find a little spot somewhere, and what I'll do is we'll have a walk around the bike, and I'll explain, you know, more about it. Right, so I've come off of that road that I was on, and I've turned onto this new build for this new estate that's going here. And I think there's an area down here where I should be able to pull over and show you around the bike. I'll just hang on for a second when I do, because even though I've got fairly thick gloves on, my hands are freezing. and this is the first time I've ever worn one of these bike in balaclava things, and I just happened to, oh actually I saw some young idiot that you get with these bikes that are riding around about 40 miles an hour, no pedaling or anything. I'm sure you've all seen them with their faces completely covered, but it just made me think, I wonder if you can get those. Now this does have a piece that you can pull up virtually right over your face. I mean, I'm not going to do that because mind you, having said that, I don't think on this bike that anybody's going to look at it and think, wow, I'm never going to keep up with that. Right, oh, another speed bump. There's quite a few of them down here. Yeah, so nobody's going to look at you on this bike and think you come into that category, because it is a pleasant looking bike. I mean, as I did say before, if you think of particularly Amsterdam and the Dutch bikes that you see you know, everywhere really, well, that's the sort of style you've got with this bike here. It's just a lovely comfortable cruiser that you can go virtually anywhere on, within reason of course. Anyway, it's not too far now. I'm just going up this slight incline. I've left it, it's in fourth gear. I've been going through the gears actually when I was off camera, and everything, as I did say earlier on, is absolutely fine. Right, there's an area here where I can just pull over and we'll have a good look around the bike. But first of all, I'm just going to warm my hands up a bit. Right, now I'm going to make this turn here, which is quite a sharp one, and that didn't interfere with my foot at all, that slight problem I said about the mudguard. So it really isn't anything to be concerned about. I will say that, you know, it is there, and if you've got your feet too far forward on the pedals, then when you turn you will catch your foot. I'm not sure if that's even the case on any other bikes, because it was only brought to my attention in another review that I watched. So maybe it's because when we do turn, we never really do sharp turns, do we? Like that. That just doesn't happen unless we really need to quickly. Ordinarily, on any turn that you make with this bike, that is not an issue at all. Anyway, I'm going to get warmed up a bit and I'll show you around the bike. Right, so here we are. Now the first thing you'll notice with the bike is that it is a step through. It's unisex, but and certainly if you're getting on a bit like I am now, that step through is fantastic. Right, so I've got some details on a piece of paper here. Anyway, as you can see, the saddle is brown, which is really rare, and it matches the hand grips, as you can see there. Now also, the saddle does have one of these clips that you pull and it lifts up there so that you can get that motor out. Now that's so that you can get the battery out, sorry. That battery is a 36 volt 13 amp hour battery, and it has a key here to lock it in place and also to turn it on and off. And there's also the handle there so that you can pull it out. You can charge it in the bike or out of the bike using the charging port, which is just there behind this here that you can see there. Now the range on this bike is apparently 65 miles plus. It has 5 levels of pedal assist. Now it's not a colour display, but it's more than adequate, that there. And as you can see, I'll try to point it out with my gloves, but you can see what's left in the battery. You can see the speed you're doing, what level of pedal assist you're in, and you can use it if you wish to unlock the speed on this bike. That's not something I'm going to do, but you can do that if you wish. Now I'll just point out these handlebars. You can see how they sweep back there, kind of retro style. They are so comfortable. It's such a comfortable riding position on this bike. Now it also has front suspension, as you can see here. It has a front LED light that's actually on, so let's just turn that off. There is a switch here that I'll just press once and that should turn that off. There you are. Yeah, so it's got a front LED light there, front disc brake. What else do we have up here? Yeah, it's got the Shimano gears here, 7 of them, with the 2 levers up and down. Now there's the motor in the back there. That's a 250 watt motor, and a kickstand that comes with it as well. It has a lovely sturdy rack. Now when I was assembling the bike you wouldn't have seen me do that, but it is really simple. There are just a couple of fittings there, and where else was it, and down here that you also fit onto this support for the mudguard. It has front and rear mudguards, plastic, but they do the job. Right, okay, and there's no rear suspension on this bike, but it does have this suspension on the saddle post, which really does help. And you'd also see there it's got a nice chain guard, you know, so you don't get your jeans or anything oily, because this is the sort of bike, let's be honest, that you're not going to get dressed in lycra for. You're just going to have your normal clothes on and use it for back and forth to work, or you know, to go shopping or something like that. So what a great idea that is to put that on there. Anyway, I mentioned the front light. There's also a rear light just there, and that is a brake light. And all in all, I think this is a lovely bike. In fact, comfort wise, riding it, I think it's probably the best one I've tried. And, you know, I might be stretching it a bit there, but for me, riding it is just so comfortable and such a lovely riding position. But what makes it as well, you may not have thought it, but it's those handlebars, the shape of those handlebars. When they first designed bikes, and most of them used to have handlebars like that, they knew what they were doing, didn't they? So there you go, that's the iScooter U2, and it is a really reasonable price. I'll say it at the end of the video, but make sure you check in the description below for any discounts. So there you go, that's the iScooter U2. Now I had the bike in black, as you saw in the video. They do it in white as well, which you can see here, so it's your choice, whichever one you fancy. Now I did enjoy doing that review, and I enjoyed riding the bike. I did mention quite often throughout the video how comfortable it is to ride, and it really is a comfortable bike to ride. The seating position is, as I said, not something that I would have considered. I like, you know, the level saddle and seat kind of level with each other. That's what I've always done. But you know, if you get one and you try it, you'll see exactly what I mean. Anyway, so that's that. I do recommend that bike, all of it, to be quite honest with you. And if you found the video helpful, why don't you consider a thumbs up? And if you found it really helpful, then why don't you consider subscribing? Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.